President Donald Trump has time and again asserted that Iran's military backbone is collapsing under sustained American and Israeli strikes. In his own words, he claimed Iran's missile launchers and drone capabilities have been blown to pieces, insisting that very little remains of Tehran's offensive infrastructure. But reality seems to be different. Before we tell you about the major revelation, let's play out Trump's claim.
Our objectives are clear. First, we're destroying Iran's missile capabilities, and you see that happening on an hourly basis, and their capacity to produce brand new ones, and pretty good ones they make. So we're in a very strong position now, and their leadership is just rapidly going. Everybody that seems to want to be a leader, they end up dead. And it's an amazing thing that's taking place before your eyes, because for 47 years we were pushed around, and we shouldn't have been. And I think I can say, and you see it as well as I do, you see the tremendous progress that's being made. Their missiles are being wiped out rapidly. Their launchers are being wiped out. We're destroying more of Iran's missiles and drone capability every single hour, knocking them out like nobody thought was possible. As soon as they set off a missile, within 4 minutes, the launcher gets hit. They don't know what's happening.
However, recent U.S. intelligence assessments indicate that nearly 50% of Iran's missile launchers remain intact or recoverable. Many protected and underground tunnel networks, the thousands of drones in the key coastal missile systems are also operational, sustaining Iran's ability to threaten regional targets and shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. But what is worrying now is that the conflict seems to be escalating as civilian infrastructure is becoming kosher for both sides. President Donald Trump has warned that the United States could trigger bridges and power plants, signaling a potential shift from military assets to critical national infrastructure. His remarks came shortly after an airstrike destroyed a newly constructed bridge near Tehran, reportedly causing casualties. Iran, meanwhile, released a list of 8 major bridges across the West Asia, hinting at a tit-for-tat retaliation following a US-Israeli attack on the key infrastructure in the northern city of Karaj. Several prominent bridges in Gulf nations and Jordan could be possible targets of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps after 2 strikes hit Iran's tallest B1 bridge. The Iranian list has the Sheikh Jabr al-Ahmad al-Sabah Sea Bridge in Kuwait, Sheikh Zayed Bridge, Al-Makta Bridge, and Sheikh Khalifa Bridge in the United Arab Emirates, the King Fahd Causeway linking Saudi Arabia to Bahrain, as well as the King Hussein Bridge, Damia Bridge, and Abdun Bridge in Jordan. On the other hand, Iran's IRGC has claimed it stuck an Oracle data center in Dubai, a claim denied by UAE authorities. Meanwhile, drone attacks have targeted US-linked facilities in Bahrain and Iraq. And even as Israel looks to the world to support, the only response they are getting from their own traditional allies is a big no. Countries like France, Spain, and Italy have either restricted or denied the use of their airspace and military bases for operations linked to strikes on Iran. This reflects a broader unease within Europe on Iran war. The lack of unified backing marks a significant shift in transatlantic coordination. Despite sustained US-Israel strikes, Iran retains significant residual strike capability, challenging claims of total military collapse. And with Europe stepping back, the American isolation has become real. On this issue, I am joined by Air Vice Marshal P.K. Srivastava and Major General Sudhakarji. Thank you both of you for joining me. My question is straight. First to you, General Sudhakarji. Trump on multiple occasions said, I have destroyed their missile capabilities. I think Americans have struck 12,000 times. But the reports that have come out, both CNN, Telegraph, and multiple newspapers, that the 50% of the Iranian missile arsenal is intact. Your comments, sir.
Good evening, Kartikeya. Thank you. And I must compliment you and your platform to have picked up this theme and gone about in setting a panel discussion, because this is what is the central paradigm of the ongoing conflict in Iran or Middle East today. As regards the question which you have raised, I am totally in agreement with you. There is a total miscalculation. It is absolutely, high-handedness, and I would say it is underestimating the enemy, which is an anathema in the military science when you go in for a conflict as an attacker. When you are attacking the enemy, never underestimate whether you are or defending yourself, never underestimate the enemy. Iran had done well by having assessed the combined military might, if not accurately, very accurately. It knew that it cannot actually be comparable or come at par with the military might of these two powers, or Israel and USA. Therefore, it had set about preparing itself for past nearly more than 2 decades. I would say from 2005 onwards, they had taken up things in earnest. There are papers which will come out subsequently without taking too much time. The head of the Int department in Iran had carried out extensive research and found out how the uprising was being triggered in Tunisia, how the regime change was undertaken by America in, call it in Iraq or Libya or Syria or any such country, what are the consequences, and how best a counter strategy can be put into effect. So they started off way back in 2005. By 2009, the document was prepared, but it kept on getting amended and improved by 2011 of Arab Spring, and they saw a lot of inputs coming. They kept on plugging the gap. Therefore, they went in for a counter strategy which reflects the mosaic system of defense, then the dispersal of leadership and the infrastructure. Yes, I do agree. A lot of people have been sending me a message based on my podcast. The steel industry, it is the largest in Middle East, incidentally, in Iran, and they have hit the steel industry so significantly. And my counter to it is that many of us don't even know that there is a railway line existing between Tehran and Beijing. It's around 10,400 kilometers. It has got operationalized in 2022, 24, June 2024, and it has made several trips, except for this ongoing conflict duration. What does it carry? It carries the hardware, the steel. 56% of steel in the world is produced in China. It carries lots of military know-how and also a lot of products coming from Russia to China and thereafter to Tehran. Although Russia has got a different circuit, it is coming through Central Asian Republic across Armenia to Tehran. So these are the issues I had in my mind.
Okay.
But I'll come back to subsequent issues. There are many more points coming
Okay,
in mind.
we'll come to all of them, but let me go across to Air Vice Marshal P.K. Srivastava. Sir, what were Americans hitting? 12,000 bombs dropped. What were they hitting? If the intel report says that the 50% of the arsenal, missile arsenal, is intact, so what were they hitting? Where were the bombs being dropped?
Can you hear me?
Oh yes, I can hear you, sir.
Okay. So thank you very much, Karthikeya. It's always a pleasure being with you on the show. You have raised a very vital question. If you have hit 12,000 plus targets, so what were you hitting? And now, as a desperation, if you start hitting the infrastructure, civilian infrastructure, schools, power grids, industrial facilities which are meant for civilians like Cancer Institute, like drugs factory, that shows the desperation that you are run short of your military planning, run short of your military strategy. And for a country like America, the established most powerful military on the planet Earth, you thought that Iran will decapitulate the moment you put in all these aircraft carriers next to the Strait of Hormuz, and you amass Marines and you amass the assault force. Nothing happened. Iran has endured. If Iran has endured and went through with its asymmetric might, as General has rightly pointed out, it was preparing for this day for last 47 years. They knew this will come. A day will come when they'll be attacked by the might of US and Israel, because that is what it was. They were signing signatories of NPT, which we are not. But that was, JCPOA was sent to winds in the first term of President Trump. So the idea is, if you're going about like this, and as the media reports are coming, that Iran has showed after the bridge hit that they have been able to down F-35 or F-15, one of the aircraft of their most powerful aircraft, and some helicopter, which is the search and rescue helicopter, that has not been put down, then it is something like that Black Hawk Down moment in the history. In 1993, it happened in Somalia. And you know what happened thereafter? President Clinton had to call back the forces because the optics which went into the US citizens was so bad. They said, our people are captured. If this story is correct, that some pilot is captured there, you tell the ego trip which President Trump is having is going to take a huge beating. And as General rightly pointed out, if you think your enemy is the weakest, Chanakya Niti told us long years, centuries before, that you have to never underestimate your enemy. And now I'll come to the mountainous range they have.
Yes.
I believe they have the power. They have Zagros and Argos mountainous range. 51 to 52% of Iran's territory is very difficult to conquer. And these launchers can survive underneath those granite mountains. They are very difficult to penetrate. Even GBU-57, when they launched on Natanz, Fordo, they were not satisfied, Natanz, Fordo, Irsan, because they thought probably they are still down there. If President Trump said then it's all obliterated, then what he's looking for now? And with his 35 days of this war, he's got 35 aims and objectives. We in military say, when you go for military option as a political leader, you have to select your aim and you have to maintain your aim. We don't know what is the aim of US as on date. Is it fighting Israel's battle? And that's how the US constituency, despite his national address, is totally confused. They do not know why this is happening. Therefore, 60% people are polling against the war.
Okay, Sudhakar ji, oh, absolutely. Sudhakar ji, there's also a bigger development that has taken place. A lot of European countries are saying no to Donald Trump. Will it make America slow down? Because that's like pure play geopolitical isolation for the first time for Americans in last so many years.
Excellent. Kartikeya, you really, generate a lot of brilliant questions. So this is where the reality, I call it not geopolitics, it is geo-reality. The geo-reality is that he's axing his own feet. Who? Donald Trump. This man who, incidentally, let me tell you, he's not a fool. He's playing his cards. Where it suits him, he will call it out. It doesn't suit him, he'll say something else. Anyway, to respond to your question, the existing world order is surviving on an architecture called a transatlantic relationship. That transatlantic relationship, which started after post-Second World War, commenced its effectiveness with the formation of the NATO in 1949. The founding members were 12, as in today there are 32. We all know what has gone through in the world order between 20 January 2025 till date. There is no question when, yesterday I was saying, earlier the relationship was fractured. Later, I started saying it is amputated. Now the limbs are gone. They're totally severed. NATO is non-existent. If after this, some people in NATO or European Union still hold some kind of a hope that they will be able to stitch up by applying ointment and cream and antiseptic and taking antibiotics, well, they're highly mistaken. They may have injectable drugs, but still they cannot rejuvenate the very architecture which survived the challenges and the tests and the trials of Cold War 1.0 and significant portion of Cold War 2.0. It has brought them to the knot, and beyond this, America is what you have just defined. It is totally isolated. Despite that, it will go ahead. If you have time, come back to me. I'll explain why it is compelled to go ahead. It is in a escalation.
I'll ask you that question. Why will America be compelled to go ahead? But to Air Vice Marshal P.K. Srivastava, sir, my question to you is very simple. Is it possible for America to change the course of the war or steer it in the directions of its own political objectives only with air power, without any boots on ground? Is it possible? Another 2 weeks of bombing? Can they change the course of the war with just bombing?
Kartikeya, I must appreciate your simple question has a very complex answer. Very, very complex answer. And as regards to what General was saying, all these structures, we were maintaining international structures, maintaining orderliness in this world. There was some kind of sanity. Those have been blown up by President Trump, either in first term or the second term. He blew up UN. He does not respect UN. He blew up his own Congress. All other presidents took AUMF, what they call authorization to use military force whenever they went for such an aggression. He blew up his NATO allies. He never took them in confidence. He blew up WTO because he says tariff is my own game. I'll do as per the America first. And everybody knows what happened thereafter. So he's been blowing up all structures. He blew up the climatic change kind of thing where the structure was there. Let's control the climate of the planet because that is going to affect everyone. So now coming to this thing, can he do the air campaign and really make Iran surrender? My simple answer to this complex question is no, it's not possible. And as rightly has been brought out, what is the option with him? Can he go back? No. If you listen to Professor Robert Pape, he has talked about this only. He's been working on this kind of syndrome, what they call escalation trap. When you escalate, you're in a trap. And that trap is known. Now it's a point of no return for the prestige of America, for the prestige and political goals of President Trump. He's going to face an election in just November. His ratings are very poor. So he has to do something. He has already sacked his 2 army commanders. I believe that this army chief would have advised against going and putting troops on ground, because if that happens, he knows that even if you want to do Normandy kind of thing, which happened in World War II, the blood cost is going to be very high. Is America ready to pay the blood cost? No, a big no. Americans are not ready to pay the blood cost. And if you cannot pay the blood cost, you cannot really put boots on ground. You should be ready as a country, as a nation. So that's the dilemma which Trump is facing. So he is to now get a chief who would listen to him a little more intently. He got his attorney general also sacked. There are news that he'll sack his own chief of intelligence. Has said no, we were not in danger. His counterintelligence chief has already resigned. See the scenario. That means all these guys who were thoughtfully there and brought by him only, they were of the opinion that this war is not for America. So when this happens, where is your America first? And if you really do want to walk away from here, how do you walk away? How do you off-ramp? He's trying to threaten even more Iran, that you surrender, because that is the victory for him. He says you can become a great country. You already showed his caption. If you surrender, why will Iran surrender? The cost of surrender is higher than the cost of death.
Absolutely.
That's what I might say. When you come next to me, then I'll elaborate.
Okay, so I'll go to Sudhakar ji. So you were saying that why will America be compelled to continue the war? So your assessment is that America will labor through it, correct?
Labor through. Okay, good question. Donald Trump is caught in a bind at the cost of reputation. I'll use the same expression, that bind is defined by restraint and escalation. If he restrains, he's doomed. If he escalates, he's doomed. Now, I call our terminology, it is called an escalation entrapment. I have not heard the professor with Air Marshal had just indicated, but this is my own terminology. My article came out sometime in 21st of February. Prior to that, when Munir became the Field Marshal, 31st May 2025, I had used this terminology time and again. It's called escalation entrapment. What does it mean? It means that more he tries to escalate with an aim to be, have an exit. All the drama is going on for what? He's looking for a suitable objective or suitable exit. Exit with honor, exit with dignity, exit with victory. Now, what is the definition of victory he's looking for? Whatever he's claiming, soon after the claim, Iran has actually retaliated so punitively that it was beyond expectations of any other power in the world that such kind of attrition could be inflicted on the eyes and ears, on the primary military assets that they have. And today we are talking about an Air Force pilot who was actually landed somewhere and he's been apprehended. So therefore, what am I saying is, there is only one way. He cannot do anything but keep moving from one entrapment to another entrapment, hoping like hell he'll find a suitable exit. That exit is not going to come, and in the bargain, he's getting into an entrapment of dependency on with China. One is dependency. What is the dependency? Every military hardware that America's architecture, security architecture is surviving today, is dependent on some rare earth element or critical technologies. You don't have time, otherwise I have got a list of this thing I can read out. And for example, Virginia class submarine requires 4,600 kgs of special rare earth element. There is a name for it. It's very, very awkward. I can't pronounce that. And 4,006 kgs are dominated by China. Similarly, Tomahawk missile. It requires 418 kgs of some rare earth element, some critical mineral, which is dominated by China. China is already weaponizing and twisting the tail of America. And America is down to 1/3 of its strategic reserve.
Okay. So before I close in, Mr. Srivastav, do you think that the Chinese, like Operation Sindoor, are already testing their weaponry in Iranian theatre?
So, since you have very little time, I'll just say yes and then elaborate on the list of woes, what he's talking about.
Okay.
One thing always gets missed out. Taiwan. TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductors Manufacturing Company. The jewel of that company is that it gives the chips to the all military complexes, and those chips are there in Tomahawk, those chips are there in PAC-3, those chips are there in THAAD missiles. They are everywhere. Without that, you cannot make a missile which can go precisely to a point. And you know on what it survives? In fabrication lab, they need helium, and they get the 90% helium they get from Qatar. The same the same gas field which was bombed counter to South Pars. So you can imagine the dependency. In this world, I may declare myself the Superman and superpower and super muscle, but we all are interdependent. Unless we understand and respect that, the survival of even the mightiest is very difficult. And the one who can endure, endurance is the key. Endurance is the key, while he wants to use fear as the key. Fear will not happen. Endurance is the key in this conflict.
Okay, so Dhakaji, I have very little time.
There is only one way. Donald Trump abruptly takes a blind U-turn and gets back home. The home is on fire.